Right, let me see if I can. I'll try and record it. Hopefully it doesn't lag. Let's give it 2 minutes, make sure everybody's in here. As long as you can all hear me. So any questions, any coins you want me to look at, just whip them in the chat. And I've got 2 already that I'm going to look at. No, 1 here. Yeah, ETH, yeah. I've got XRP first. A Leo next. Yep, a Leo. An ETH. Yep, I'll have a look at that one. To be honest, that one that I called last week, it never played out, and that's why I wait. That's why I always wait for my trigger, you know. Alan Tete, how we doing? At 1 minute and we'll get going. Let's get going. Right, we might as well start. How's everybody's Sunday's been? It's been good. Weekend, how's the weekend been? Got all the loyal ones in here. I know where he's up in, my mate. If you want to say out, put your hand up and I'll invite you to the stage. What's been going on, Jake? To be honest, I've had a bit of a stressful one. First game of the season for my under 15s today. We literally, that's mad you putting Embassy there, Jake. We played a team called Embassy, and today I'll give you a little run over what happened. We drew 3-3 with this team. We were losing 2-0 at half time. We ended up going 3-2 up. We drew 3-3, and when we went 3-2 up, the opposite coach proceeded to abuse me. He told me to fuck off. He said, "You lot are a bunch of wankers," and then he proceeded to tell me to suck him off in front of about 27 kids. So yeah, it's been fun. It's been a really fun one for me today, guys. Yep. What a wanker. But to be honest with you, I didn't bite. I held my cool, and he looks more foolish. So, and that's not like me. But to be honest with you, in front of 27 kids, it's not the way to act, is it really? So yeah, it's been fun. Right, it's 23 in here now. I think we'll get going. So I'm just going to point out USDT dominance. So I had these areas pointed out. I did point it out in the group, in my journal, that I'm expecting a bounce from this zone here. We're in the zone, we are having a slight bounce. It's not the best bounce, to be honest with you. Looks really weak on USDT dominance. It looks like people want to stay risk on. So yeah, we'll see where that goes from there. I'm gonna have a little scan of BTC dominance at the minute. These are my yearly ultimate trend lines. Just take them off for 1 minute and we'll go back through them. So I did point out as well, in BTC dominance, expect a bounce from here, and we are bouncing. So it wouldn't surprise me if we go back up to around 59. Altcoins are going to get a little bit wrecked if we do go back up to 59. But that's going to be a great opportunity if we start, if we're weak here in this zone, if we come up into here and we start to close weak, which is another level of interest, got potential to coming down to here. That there is another level of interest that I've had marked out, and it's a point of control. I don't use these as confirmations, but I like to have these levels set out in these zones. So yeah, let me go through these coins now. So we've got, somebody requested XRP, so I'm going to do XRP first. So I've got my weekly volume profile set up here. That's the point of control on XRP, around $3. So there is, this is on the 30-minute. Let me just go out to the daily. So these red levels that I've got marked out here in XRP, fairly important levels. The points of controls that have not been tested, the only one that has is around $2.78. I think there's another one round here somewhere. I won't mark that out yet, but you can see how XRP here, from the top of that volume area, there's that it was very weak. The volume was very weak. We never hold that zone there, and then we've started to retrace. So this zone here is going to become very, very important. We've got a point of control there, and we've got a point of control there, which could potentially create a zone of interest in here. If we fail to hold that zone, so if we come in, start to go sideways, and we drop through it, then then that could turn into a possible resistance zone, and then we come and tag this zone here. I will look further into that probably Monday, and we'll see where we're going to go from there. So that's XRP. It's pretty simple. It's boring things that I look at, but the most boring things are probably the most profitable. You don't need all these colourful charts and all this bollocks. Try to keep it as simple as you possibly can, and you're going to go far with that. Next, I'm going to have a look at, where is it now? I think somebody requested a Leo. I'm going to do a Leo. Is a Leo USDC only or USDT? don't like to use MEX charts. I really don't like to use them. You know, I'll go on to the MEX, you know, if we go down like to the, you know, 30-minute chart here, I don't like to use these charts, because I was looking at a chart the other day on MEX, and honestly, I looked at the chart on MEX, and then I looked at the chart on Binance. MEXC had done a wick like that, and on Binance, the wick were like, it were like that. So I absolutely, I don't like MEXC. I really don't. Let me see if I can find another chart. So I've never really used CoinEx either. A Leo there. Yeah, let's use Bybit. Let's have a look at Bybit. So Bybit, daily, Leo. You can clearly see there, you know, we've rejected there from that zone. It's just all about, is it going to hold that zone there? That zone there, is it going to hold that? Because, you know, we've got liquidity points below us. We can even go to the weekly. You know, you see how we took that, and then we've rejected really hard after taking that, where sellers have taken control up in here. Below us, you know, we've got a lot of equal lows here. Below us, if we're going to the daily again, you know, at the minute we're caught in a range. You know, you want to be short in the top of the range and long in the bottom of the range. It sounds boring, but there's not really much. You know, the potential supporting area here, what was a resistance area. You can see how it's, you know, interacted with it a lot of times. You know, when you get a candle like that there on that daily that goes through that zone like a knife through butter, you know, you don't really want to be short in there, do you? You can clearly see, if it, you know, if I just have a little look, how much, you know, the 5.3 million volume in that one candle there, and it opened at, you know, 2.3, and the high was 2.8, and then the next candle 57 million. So look at the difference in how much people FOMO'd in on that coin there. And then the next candle, you know, 18 million, volume weakens. You know, generally, I'm not saying this happens all the time, but you can see a top in a coin generally when you have that, you know, when you have that spike in volume. You know, look at the spike here, and then we drop the spike, and then you lose from there 18%. Spike from there, you're losing, you know, all the way. You know, that's like a 50% correction from that, and that's because everybody got FOMO. Everybody thought, oh, it's gonna go higher, it's gonna go higher, you know, and it just literally wipes out all that, comes down in here, wipes out all these people that have gone long in here, because people don't want to take profit. So Leo at the minute looks weak, like a lot of the coins, but like I say, I'm expecting BTC dominance to push, even if it goes sideways, up, down, up, down. You know, altcoins are going to do this. You know, it's just what it is at the minute. So there was another thing that I was reading about. You know, the bill that Trump has introduced. So the bill that he introduced, so you know how much debt America is in. I don't know if anybody's got any stats that they can just put in the chat for me at the minute. But I know that America are in a lot of debt at the minute. So he's introduced the bill for the stable coins. So my take on this, and a few other people's take on it, is he's basically going to weaken the dollar like he's doing, move the money into stables, making stables go up, and then once the dollar is, you know, at a bad stage, i.e. we're going to have a little look at the dollar while we're here. I am going to go back over the coins, don't worry. But if we look, so this is January. This is when Trump started his reign, okay? And I've done this. I've gone through it all. The dollar has lost nearly 13% in value since Trump started the reign here in January 25. When were he last in charge? I can't remember now. What it? 2017. So let's go to 2017 right quickly, and then I'm going to go back to the coins. So 2017, his first year in charge. This is why I'm being very wary with what's going on at the minute. This is when he was in charge in here. The dollar lost 13 to 14%. So he was in charge 4 years. So February 18, 19 and 20. So let's look when the dollar bottomed out in February 18, which was his second year in charge. And then the dollar regained near enough everything that it had lost. So if I go here, Trump's reign, and we look into next year, February, so to around here, if that regains 12-13%, all them gains on these coins on BTC are going to be wiped out. So that's my interpretation of it, and it could well be just another slow grind up like it was here. So if you have a look in the first year, look at the first year, you know, 459 days, and then in the last 3 years of his reign, it literally slowly grinded up. So I would be very, very careful with what we're doing at the minute. I'm going to go back to these coins now. That's just my take on it. I don't know if people agree with me. Just send a message in chat. Do you agree with me? Can you see the actual stats in front of you? You know, I want your opinions as well. I'm not a guy that's got a fucking crystal ball or all like that. But just have a look at the chart of the dollar and go through Trump's terms. You know, the times that he has been in charge, and have a look at the movements. That's correct. He's literally depreciating the dollar. So everybody's like, it's never going to stop. It's going to always go up, always go up. And I honestly, everybody said the same here. Look at the first year of his reign. It always depreciates a lot. And then in the following 3 years of his reign, it slowly grinds up and chips away at everything that you have gained. So that's just, you know, my opinion on it, but the facts are there, the chart is there. I'm not, you know, bullshitting you guys. He's literally creating these bills to destroy everybody that is in these coins. That is a guarantee. So that's why you've got his son. You know, his son's promoting ETH. You know, his son's promoting all this other bullshit. They're all flowing with different coins in. World Limit Finance coin. All this crap. And then, honestly, it is literally going to shit the bed. That's just my take on it. But you know, like she was saying, Akia, she was just saying there, that is his aim. Genuinely, that's his aim. So don't believe me. We'll see what we will see next year what's going to go on. But you've also got to think of the cycles. You know, how far into this cycle are we? Because by my, you know, what I'm looking at, we are coming up to the end of the cycle, and yet we're still going to have altcoins that are going to shoot up and then shoot down, and you know, things like that. We've got everybody on Twitter saying Sui's going to be worth $20. You know, we've got everybody on Twitter saying ETH's going to be worth 15, 20k. Everybody on Twitter saying XRP is going to be worth $50, $120. Honestly, don't believe them. They are all full of shit. I didn't want to swear, but I did. Anyways, the next coin, obviously I just looked at XRP, and that's, you know, my personal take on XRP, where we're going to be moving to. And, you know, we're getting down towards this point of control at the minute. So I know that everybody, I've been there and I've done it. You know, XRP's already dropped nearly 5% from that high there. So that's just literally, you know, everybody's been people's liquidity there. They've rolled that coin up there, seen everybody jumping in there, volumes increased, and then they've gone, time to leave. And then you're left holding the bag. So you need to be very, very careful what we're doing. Right, next coin, let's get on to this next coin here. Who else is in here at the minute? Right. I just want to point some out at the minute, yeah. Right. Props. 1 minute, I'm not answering that. Props. You've been in this group as long as me, yeah. Right, you remember Bitsman? That crazy guy called Bitsman. I'm sure everybody remembers him. Anyways, you know this new person that's just come in called, is it Cadre? There he is. Here's the man, Fido. Do you think that Cadre is, you know, showing resemblance of Bitsman? Just send me a message. Just write in chat. I know Fido. Fido, what do you think? Fido, sorry. Keep calling you Fido. He's always late to the party, and I thought I were always late. Anyways, I'm gonna move on. It's Sunday, oh my mate. I've been up since 7 o'clock this morning, mate. So all I'm doing is with the volume profile, yeah. All I'm doing, literally, I'm just using the weekly volume profile. I will use, you know, the previous week's volume profile as potential levels of interest for me. Because when we get a new volume profile that comes in here on Monday, how am I going to be able to predict any movements without using the previous week? I'm not. So I need to look at the previous week. And then when this volume profile develops, you know, then we're going to have a little look from there. Topic, we're just having a look at a few coins, mate. There's no main topic, if I'm being honest with you, but I am going to go into a few things for people at the end of it, if people stay around. Because I've got my notepad ready here, because I want people to see something that I can see. So the next coin that somebody did call, was it ETH? Right, let me have a little look at ETH. If you want any coins looking at, just whip them in the chat. If you don't know how to open up the chat, just in your top right hand corner, just whip it up and let me know. Right, ETH. dot. I want to do ETH. Let me do ETH first. So this is what I had marked out. I'll just remove that a second. This was short that I'm looking at in ETH. To be honest with you, I went in a bit early. Shouldn't have gone in early like I did. But this is what I said yesterday. I was speaking about ETH. And if I'm going to remove that path for 1 second, yeah. This move here, down, yeah. We need follow through today. We need that candle to start to close below here. Yeah, that's what we need. We need it to close below. Otherwise, ETH, like I've got pointed out in this path, is going to chop sideways. And when it chops sideways, I can go over it. I can show you an area of interest where we've chopped sideways before. Friday, Saturday, into Sunday, no follow through. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, bang. That there, accumulation. And if we do the same here without any follow through, it's going to accumulate. And from my experience, what I've seen over the years, then we're going to rock it again. But we need follow through today. We need follow through like this. We need to start closing below these zones in ETH. And I've got some fairly important zones. I've got this zone here which is untested, and I've got this zone here which is untested also. So that's what I'm looking at in ETH. But we need the follow through. If we're not getting the follow through, then you know there's a potential long in there. But we will see, because you know it's the crypto market, and you know things can change. If Mr. Wiggy, you know, tweets something, you know, you're gonna have a 5% candle that just goes bang. So let's hope Mr. Trump does not say anything over this next week. Fido, have we got any news coming up, do you know, this week? I'm just being lazy now, and I don't really want to pull up another thing because it's just going to white screen everybody. I can't remember if we've got any news coming up this week. Funk. I'm going to say, what's funk? Right, FOMC. Okay. So yeah, we need to be careful with the news this week then. If we've got FOMC, we need to be really careful then. Right. Next. So I've done ETH, and that's what I want to see. I want to see follow through, slight sideways, and then follow through. Okay? That's ETH. Next. Somebody wanted some, I can't remember, M. I'm going to have a little look at M. M and Athena. I've got M saved down here. USDT, let's have a look. Binance, we're going to use this chart. Look at M. So on the lower time frames, M, it just honestly, it literally looks like shite. But you know what I've just pointed out in ETH, look here, accumulation, a drop, and then up we go. Okay, you always get that move after an accumulation. You always get it. You want to see for it to distribute the other way. You want to see an accumulation, a drop, another accumulation, and then a drop. What we're seeing at the minute is the opposite. So we're seeing accumulation, pump, accumulation, pump. Yeah, that is literally what we're seeing with them. You know, you can go through it all. Accumulation, pump, accumulation, pump, accumulation, pump, accumulation, pump, accumulation. And we did have a dip there, and that's probably where it's caught everybody out in here. But look at the, you know, the candles will tell you that story. You know, look at the candles, the weak. They are weak candles. You want really, really big drops. But let's analyze this one candle here, yeah? We're going to analyze this here. So that, to me, is a very indecisive candle. Very indecisive. That's telling me that the sellers and the buyers don't know what to do. And I think 3:30 in the morning, so 1. That's just saying, like, what, you know, where do we want to go? And then we move up again, and we just, you know, we're accumulating every time, and then pumping. You want to see a big drop. Everybody thinks I've missed the move, and you've not missed the move. So M at the minute, me personally, I would not be touching M, because this coin could just do what were the other coin? MYX. It could do an MYX. Genuinely, it really could do an MYX. So I would avoid that coin at the minute. Yeah, it is on the daily. It is much clearer. It is, and I agree with you there. On the 30-minute, it looks like shite, but that's, you know, that's on the 30-minute. That's my trading time. That's where I like to enter and exit, on the 30-minute. You know, I'm not saying you lot have to do exactly the same, because you trade how you want. You know, there's no one rule fits all. But even here, you know, having a look at M, you know, you've got a small accumulation that's developed and then pump. You know, if you'd have seen the accumulation here, and then you've seen a dump, and then we get the accumulation back, and then, yeah, that's potentially a move that could occur. There is a lot of, yeah, I get what you mean, Fedor, yeah, I do. There is a lot of zones down in here that M could potentially want to come and take out. For me, it's not really something that I want to be trading, personally. But, you know, you can trade what you want, like I say. Let's get a volume profile up from Monday, and let's have a little look. So if you see where the accumulation occurred this week, so the accumulation occurred at the point of control where most trading activity is. At the minute, it's pumped up, but there's no clear volume developing at the top of this zone at the minute. Yes, we have a volume bump here where we are at the minute, but there's no clear direction, because, you know, where I'm looking here, you know, that volume bump there could either hold or drop. So if we do drop below this zone here, you know, that next volume bump there, this one here, is potentially going to hold the coin. And, you know, we could do something like that from this volume bump here, because these are going to be buyers in that zone, and these are going to be sellers. You know, on the other hand, you know, this is why trading's probabilities, guys. Like, I have not got a crystal ball, just like Fedor's not got a crystal ball, Mr. B's not got a crystal ball, Andre's not got a crystal ball. You know, we're looking at levels. You know, if we can lose that volume bump there and then use it, you know, potentially something like that, then yeah, I might start to build a short in there, and then I'm going to take most of it off around this zone here, and then watch it move down to potentially the point of control, which is here. So we don't have to get in now. There's no FOMO here, but that there, it's going to be a great move. Well, let me have a little look in chat. What have we got? £9 each. Cheap that. Cheap that, Jake. Right, what were the other coins somebody wanted me to look at? So I've done M. Dot. Let's have a little look at Dot. MYNE, Fido. Got a spot chart. Yeah, let's have a little look at the spot chart. Why not I've got this one, and then I've got World Limit Finance. And if anybody else wants me to look at don't be scared. Just pop it up, let me know. I'm going to have a little look, see if I can find out on the signal that I will. I'll see if I can find any coins that we can trade right now. Right. Yep. Sui, por favor. Right. Let me have a look. Monday. So Dot. Untested point of control around here. It wouldn't surprise me if we potentially test that point of control there. Then let me have a little look at this week here. Monday the 5th to Sunday. Right, the point of control is right down there. Thought we might have come up to test the point of control up in this zone here. We've got potential to come and test this point of control in here. We've got a lot of volume in there as well. And there is going to be people wanting to defend these long positions that they've built in here. They will want to defend in that zone. So I'd at the minute where I am and what I'm looking at, yeah, it's risky where we are. Very, very risky. I am in a BTC short and I am in an ETH short at the minute. But they're going to be a long-term play. So, but that when you're in a bull market, it's risky. Short in the bull market, it's very, very risky. And don't get me wrong, I don't know what that fib's doing there. That was years ago. If we're having a little look here, there's only really one coin that's been in the bull market, and that's BTC. Because if you're looking at DOT and then you're looking at BTC, look, the move from the bottom to the top is a very, very significant move. It's 681%. So, if you didn't get in down here, you all know I sold a lot of mine here. I sold a lot in my BTC. Yeah, I have missed a significant move here of 100%. But the overall move that I got from the bottom to there is 267%. So I'm not going to cry over spilt milk. Is what it is. So yeah, going back to DOT. There's only really been one coin in this bull market, and it's called BTC. Nobody's interested in these. But now everybody thinks that because Trump has come with this you know, stable coin, whatever it is that it's come with, then, you know, everybody's going to start loading up on altcoins. So it's not, you know, everybody says, you know, altcoins follow BTC, but do altcoins really follow BTC? So just comparing the two charts, do they? I don't know if that's true anymore. And I was saying it before, you know how these, no, it used to, yeah, it did. It used to before the ETFs. It really did. But now, everybody wants the big dog. Yeah, I know that. I know that. You know, but people think, oh, BTC's moved up, so altcoins have got to move up. But just look, go after we've finished with this live, yeah. Go look at altcoins, and then go look at BTC. So even comparing ETH to BTC, yeah. So if we compare from the bottom, where the bottom started, so the bottom here in 2022 to the bottom here in ETH 2022, BTC kept going. ETH had a move of 263%. ETH corrected in December by 65%. December, BTC had a 30% correction, and then BTC absolutely pumped from there, and then ETH has just followed it. It took a while, but then ETH has caught up so quick, because they go from here, risk on, into here, risk on, and then everybody thinks it closed down the chain, and then they're going to go into shit coins. And me personally, I do not think that, you know, a person like Warren Buffett is going to go onto a chart, yeah, and think, oh, I must buy a fart coin, or just any random coin that I'm coming out with. I must buy fart coin for my, you know, profile, you know, to put it into my profile, just to see what's going on. They don't give a shit about that. And then we're all out here. We've got 5 big coins: BTC, ETH, Sol, SUI, XRP. You've got 5 coins there, yeah, that you can trade. And you know they've got high liquidity in them. They've got plenty of money inside of them. But we all choose instead. We all choose to go and trade these instead. And yeah, you can get some really good gains off these coins. You really can. But you need to think to yourself, right, yeah, I can make a lot of money off that. I can make a lot of money off that. But if you were smart enough and you actually looked at these charts, looked at the ETH, looked at the BTC, right, you can make a lot of money off that as well. Just holding it in spot. You don't need to day trade it. You can hold it in spot. And it's just, this is why I don't really like to trade the shit coins. Don't get me wrong, I'll put a few signals out there for you guys to actually have a look at, but I really do prefer trading these coins, because they're not as easily manipulated as, i.e., Flock. You know, this move here in Flock, Monday, nearly a 200% move in less than 12 hours. But if you were the person that was shorting that, you know, it's, you know, one of them, innit? You choose to trade what you want to trade. I'm not trying to sway you to not trade these coins, because if you want to trade these coins, trade these coins, but just do it with caution. You know, look after your funds. because I'm gonna, like I say, at the end of this, I'm gonna go through something, and I'm gonna, you know, something that my mentor told me, and you know, it's always stuck with me what he told me. So yeah, right, next, who's on the next coin? Let's have a little look. I just seen the question here from Akia. So you can't really predict or anticipate this pump or dump. You can't really do it. What you've got to do is, yeah, you've got to have your levels ready, and that's how you're going to anticipate the move in the coins. If you've got your levels ready, then yeah, then you know, if you're confident enough to take that trade, and you're only risking a small amount of money in that trade, then you know it's not a problem, that is it? It's when people start to size up and think, oh well, I'm going to put 10% in this coin now. Why not? It was right last time, and then all of a sudden it drops, bang, stop loss out, and all that work you've done over, say, in August, you literally lost it all at the beginning of September. All because you think, oh well, if it's done it before, it must do it now. It's not how it works. Somebody wanted World Limited Finance. I'll have a look at that one. I'm at it. World Limited Finance. Genuinely, I just think this coin here is another fucking pump and dump. It's another Trump and Melina. It really is. Well, there you go. That just says it there. That's without me even looking at the chart. Daily chart. Look at the state of that. Look at that. Pump and dump at its finest. How much is that? Unreal. Unreal. Now you can see why I avoid these coins. Right, let me have a look. When would it? Where's Monday? Monday. Literally coming down towards the point of control as we're speaking right now. So that would be an area that I'd be looking at to close my short. There. So yeah, it wouldn't. Me personally, I wouldn't trade this. It's literally, you know, like this. World Limit Finance votes on buyback and burn plan using protocol liquidity fees. So it's a bit like what happened with MYX. It had a buyback. I think it was no, it was IP. I think it was IP that had a buyback system in, and that's why IP started to pump the way it did, because they were doing buyback and burn. So you know, there's this volume bump here in World Limited Finance. See how it's starting to react from that volume bump there, because people are going to want to protect the longs in here in this volume bump. I'll mark it out for you. In this volume bump here, they're going to want to protect there at the point of control. If it does that, then you know that they've pulled their orders. If it does something like that, you know the orders have been pulled, and then we're going to be coming down for these areas here. These areas here. That's my thought on World Limited Finance. Like I say, not something that I really want to trade. Enna. Yeah, my bad. Enna. So the vertical volume profile is showing you volume at price. So it's showing you the volume at a certain level where people are trading. That's why I use the vertical volume profile. Whereas if, you know, you're using, let me just come off of that. If we're just using the normal volume here, how can you see that here? Because there's no real, like, so let's take, for example, here, this volume bump here. That there, on that candle, if you're looking at normal volume, can I increase that? I'm not fucking around with it anyways. But if you look at this volume here on this candle, yeah, you had a pump. How could you tell here in these two candles that that volume there will then going to continue and for it to move another 15-16% through them candles there? You can't, can you? That's hard for you to see. So that's why I like to use the vertical, because I can see the volume at price. Volume at price, volume at price. That's why I use it. So I hope that explains it a little bit more for people that are wondering why I use that vertical volume instead of, you know, the normal volume down in here. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. Any more questions before I get on with Enna? Yeah, I'll go back through ETH again. I'm gonna finish on ETH and BTC anyways. Right, where's Enna? ENA. Let's have a look at this. Start on the spot. Go to the daily. So, you know, we're looking like we're accumulating here on the daily. Monday. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's from the previous week. Right. So Enna at the minute. Let's pull it all the way along. So if you have a little look at this volume profile here, we're below the point of control. So people wanted to try and hold that level, as you can see here with these two candles here. So if you have a look here, yeah, they were trying to hold that zone there from where they built the longs from here. So if I get another volume profile from the previous week and have a little look, if we touch that volume profile, point of control, so where we are right now, that there, right here, is the point of control from that previous week where all these longs started to build in that zone there. These are going to want to try and protect that zone. The long people in there, they want to try and protect this zone here. Okay, that's what they want to do. If they fail, because there's not a lot of volume coming in here, but you're gonna have limit orders here, and they're gonna want to add to the positions in here. And it is Sunday, so you know anything could happen on a Sunday. So it's one of them. So let's see. Let's look at the reaction there. Okay, in that zone there. Watch the reaction. If we're just doing that, you know, we've got a potential drop in motion there, because are they really going to be bothered to hold that zone there if this coin does not want to do that? You know, are they going to hold that limit order? They're going to pull it, and then they're going to look further down where we've got a little bit, you know, we've got another volume bump in here. in this zone here. So we will keep an eye on that zone there in Enna at around, have a look, 6.9 and 6.8. Keep an eye on that zone. But as of now, you know, it's looking like them limit orders are protecting that zone there. Right, what's next? I hope that explained it for you on that one. Oh, so do you want me to show you where it is? Show you where it is now. That's my favourite, yeah. Just here. Anchored VWAP, fixed range volume, right there. If you want to use it, have a look there. I like to use liquidity. You know, these zones, i.e. go to the daily. So I like to use these as like my TP areas. So like, you know, that there, that there, that there. And if you have a little look at these highs here, look at what it took. It took the high, rejected, and then I know for a fact that, you know, once it's took that high, people want to get involved in that coin straight away and want to catch the falling knife. And what you will see is, a lot of the time, is you'll see the move, you'll see the drop, this coin's not done it. But what you will see a lot of the time is, so say you've shorted it here, yeah, you've hit TP1, people move the stops to TP1. Now have a look at what the coin did. So your stop there, it took you out. And then proceeded to continue down. People are moving the stops into there, takes you out. And that's what happens. So, you know, a limit buy or a limit sell or a market buy, market sell. So what will happen is it takes you out, and then this is why you see moves like this. This is why you see moves, accumulation, and then a pump off. So people have got the stops here, above that area. And then once it goes to that area, just look at that, at these candles here in that area. You know, we start to chop, move up, chop, move up. So then people that have been taken out there, that then creates a market buy. So then we have a little pump. So then people that have started to short here, or go along here, it comes in, that turns into a market sell, market buy, market sell. There has got to be a buyer for every seller, and vice versa, a seller for every buyer. So either way, that it is an auction. So when you get that, when you understand the market is an auction, you'll start to understand trading a little bit better. Because this market is an auction. And what you'll see sometimes is, so like when I use my Atos trading platform, so we'll see a candle, so we'll have, let me just draw a candle. So we've got a candle here, it's going to be a bit of a wonky candle. You know, we've got the wick there, we've got a little wick there. So down here, in this zone here, what we'll have is, we'll have, so that will be split into buyers and sellers, okay? So you'll have 0, 5, 0, 6, 0, 2. So these here now, they are failed auctions. And then generally what you'll see, because of the failed auction, you'll see a candle. The next candle will come down into these here. And because they're failed auctions at that zone there, the candle generally does that. And then what you'll see up above here, you'll have 0, 1, 0, 6, and then it'll come up. It's a failed auction again, and then it comes back down. And that's where you get, let me get rid of them drawings a minute. You know, I'm showing you a lot here, and I don't normally show you this much, but I'm showing you a lot. In that zone there, this accumulation zone, failed auction, failed auction, failed auction, failed auction, failed, and then pump. So then them people that put the stops here in the failed auction have now been taken out. Then people that have started to long and put the stops here have been taken out. And that's how it moves. That's how markets move. Are you following me? Yeah, you're all following me on that. So that's why you see movements like this. You know, these are little secrets that I shouldn't really be giving away, but it's, you know, it's easily out there. You can actually look it up on YouTube. But you know, these areas, they are failed auctions. So when people are trying to buy it up here, and what they do is they lose interest. So buyers lose interest, and what happens is sellers take over, and then sellers are interested. Oh yeah, I don't mind a bit of that coin up here to sell it. I don't mind buying a bit of that coin down here, just like we've done right there. You know, failed auction, failed auction, failed auctions, and that's what happens. That's how we move. So yeah, enough of that. Any other coins anybody wants me to look at? Can't remember, somebody else pointed out a coin. Yeah, and there's a lot of indicators that draw the volume profile levels, but the only thing is with that is it back paints. So do you all know what back painting is? I've recorded Enna. I've recorded it, so you'll be able to look it up. I will post it on my YouTube, just like I need to post the Thursday night one on my YouTube as well. Completely forgot what we're on about. I was on about the indicators that draw the volume profile levels. So like I say, it back paints. So what it does is, so like, let's go to the daily here. Okay. Let me just remove all these drawings a minute. Right. So say you've got an indicator on, and what it does is it will back paint a level from here. So say it's got that there, that level there of importance, yeah? So it'll back paint it there. I prefer to do it manually, but can you see how I've literally instantly gone to a level, pointed it out, and look at the level. That's what I've not studied this chart. I've literally found a level, pointed it out, marked it out, look, rejection. So even with that, I'm presuming there's probably a point of control that we're in this zone here somewhere. Where's the Monday? I'm going to see if it can show me. There is a point of control right there in Enna. Is it there? Yeah, it's right there. So then what I'll do again is I'll have a look. Monday. We've got another point of control there. And these interact with these points of controls a lot. So then we'll have another one here somewhere. Monday. Sunday. Where's that point of control? look, that point of control is right there. Look at the interaction with the point of control. Rejection, rejection. Off that point of control there. So if we have a look at this week's point of control, we're below it. Go back to Monday. Let's have a look at that week's point of control. We're on it. Let's analyse this area here. Monday. Point of control there. Can you see how it interacts with these points of control a lot? They generally like to use these areas as areas to defend, or to think, right, I'm not interested in the coin anymore, I'll allow it to move away. That's how I look at it. You know, I want to see these points of controls being respected. You know, look at the interaction here in that point of control there. Held, pumped. Now, from here, next week, are we gonna do this move up to here, try push, fail, and then come and interact with the previous point of control again? But as of now, it is on a point of control where it is reacting. You know, we'll keep an eye on that. But that's my take on ENA and the way I'm looking at charts and the way I'm looking at certain trades. This is not all that I look at. You know, there's other things that I do look at, but these are certain things that I am looking at that will give me, like, you know, is that this, is that that, you know, 1, 2, 3, yeah, high trade, you know, potential pump back up towards that point of control there, potentially, yes. So it would be a short-term trade from there, but we've not closed this candle yet. Potentially back towards that point of control there. So, you know, that's something to have a little look at. You know, we're at that point of control on the daily. You know, are we going to do something like that to retest that point of control there from this accumulation zone here, i.e. we have fairly important volume in that area as well. Are they going to want to push it back up? Right, time to close my position. You know, I've read the move from here to here, we're back to here. Is it going to hold? Say they bought in here. You know, they've had that move, 30%. You know, they're still taking a 16% move. So, you know, it might do, might not. I'm not saying it is gonna, I'm not saying it isn't. No, it's not really a call that I'm making, but you know, if you want to take that trade, you take that trade. It's not something that I really want to be taking. But that there potentially could be something that we're looking at, that it's going to come up to retest that area there. But it's, you know, it's not going to just pump up instantly. You know, look at this accumulation zone here in that volume node there. Are we going to do this again before moving up? And then I'll take all that off. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm not saying take the trade, but if you want to take the trade, you know, that stop loss is really tight, to be honest with you. I probably wouldn't put a stop loss there. I'd probably put it below there. So you've got a little bit of room to move, you know, just in case it does start to do something like this in this zone here, and then move up into there, and then move back down towards that point of control here. Right, what were the next coin? Somebody pointed out just trying to think. Somebody else pointed out a coin, but I don't know which one it was. Oh, PP. PP, Pepe, whatever you want to call it. Mate, this coin, yeah, has had its run. Let me just remove that. That's an anchored volume profile before people start asking. Right, let's have a little look at Pepe. So, me personally, these coins, yeah, are fucking risky. Sorry for the language, but these coins are so risky. You know, it could do that. How many days will that, you know, less than a week, 2 weeks, and it, you know, it moves. And yeah, you can make a lot of money from it. Whatever, do you know what I'm interested in staying in the game as long as I possibly can. I don't care if I miss a 400% move, 200% move, all this crap. I'm not bothered. Genuinely. I'm here for the long run. I'm here to stay in this game as long as I can. And you guys should be the same as well. That's what you should be thinking. How long can I withstand this game? Because this market and any market will eat you alive. If you're not prepared for it, it will eat you alive. You know, I know people that have put their life savings into these sort of markets and ended up getting absolutely destroyed. You know, there's another channel, I'm not even going to mention the channel, but, you know, this guy, I was watching him, he's on YouTube, yeah? And he's like, oh, I think we should start to build along in Pepe here, and, you know, we're going to be aiming for this area here. And then he's not told these people that you know, Pepe now is down 75%, but they've all been wrecked from that one move, and they still follow him, and they've still got nearly, you know, I think is it like 16 million followers, and I can't get my head around it. I genuinely can't. Yeah, nice one, prop, top man. I just can't get my head around it. You know, you get wrecked by somebody like that, and you know, it's not. It's just funny. It's just really, really funny how they're not looking. You know, they're coming out with all these, you know, in backwards, forwards, front flip, triangle formation, upside down patterns, and it's like it doesn't. You know, it don't work. It might work every now and again. And I said it the other day. I don't know if anybody were in Thursday Night Live, but, you know, why would retail patterns not work? So they are going to work for the simple reason big banks need you for your money, your liquidity in the markets, yeah? So when you start understanding that they need you, and yes, retail patterns are going to work because they need you, so i.e. a trend line here, you literally, so this trend line, I can put that trend line there wherever I want. I can start from that candle there, I can put it onto that candle there, I can do anything I want with a trend line. I can do the same here with a trend line. So I can move it from here. I can go up like this. So what people will think here is, and I know they will because I've used it, I've been there and I've done all this. I've done it all. Right? So that breakdown candle there, that's, we'll go even further back. Let's go further back. That breakdown candle there, yeah, is a signal for them to go short. Okay? So I've gone short here. Where's my stop loss? My stop loss is going to be above that candle. In less than a day, I'm already stopped out. Yeah, in what, 2 days it took, I'm already stopped out. Yeah? Okay. So we'll go to the next candle here, yeah? And you can go back and back test all this. Go and back test it all. I've done it all. So my short is there at the break of that trend line. My stop loss is going to have to be either above that trend line, yeah? So where's my TP? Maybe here. We'll go there. It's a 1 to 4 6. You was in profit 6% in profit here, and then up there she goes, bang, out you go again. And this I'm just showing you why I don't use trend lines. I've been there and I've done it all with it. It don't work. Head and shoulders pattern, yeah? So we'll go over head and shoulders pattern. Shoulder, head, shoulder. So if that is a shoulder, a head, a shoulder, so technically, you know, that pattern there should be working, and we should pump up towards these areas here, yeah, on a head and shoulders pattern. Well, it's not working though, is it? You know, it needs to work for a certain amount of time before it wrecks you. And that's why I use volume profiles. Because I'm not guessing. I can see where the volume is. That's why I love them. I absolutely love them. Anyways, PP, Pepe, avoid it. Anything else that anybody wants me to have a little look at while I'm here? Because I'm going to be going in next. I've been here an hour and 20 minutes now, and I've got football at 6. Sui, yeah? Yeah, I'll have a little look at Sui. I'll do Sui, and then I'm just going to scan ETH and BTC right quick after Sui, and then I'm going to get off. So Sui, I had this area of interest. You know, we've got a point of control there. It's not come and tested it yet. But, you know, if we can hold this zone here in Sui, you know, we've got a potential of coming and testing this point of control here. That's my personal take on it. But, you know, we've got low volumes here, we've got high volumes here, high volumes here. You know, people are going to want to protect the longs in there. If people are shorting in there, people are going to want to protect the shorts there. So as of now, we're in a range in Sui. And I just, you know, I'm not going at anybody, right? We are late. If you want to build, you know, a set of coins from where we are now in this bull market, okay? If you want to build a set of coins where we are now, you're late. Look, 24. That's 1,000% move. And I know a lot of people, like say on Twitter and that, how much more have these coins got to give? That was 1,000% move before a 68% drop. And then we've had nearly a 160% move. How much more have they got to give? You know, you're late. You are late if you want to start to build, you know, a profile on all these coins. But Sui might have a little bounce from this zone in here towards that area there. I'll get last week's, well, this week's current volume profile up. We can have a little look. So the volume profile point of control is actually on that level, which is here when it wants to mark it out. So that's where it is there. Okay, right there. So potentially, yeah, start to build along in there and then go for the highs of this zone here. No volume, but we will keep an eye on that. So that potentially there could be a plain suey. An accumulation followed by a pump. So write that one down. Like I say, I am recording this video anyway, so you can go back over it whenever you want. Yes, so he does, yeah. No, and I totally get that. But, you know, I want to show you one thing. I want to show you one thing in Sol. Yeah, I want to show you something in Sol right now. So let's go to the weekly. So, Sol on that run in November 21. Yeah. Nearly a full correction from the bull market. Nearly a full correction. So, don't get me wrong, I think Sol has got a little bit more to give. I do. But if we start from the bull and we have a look where we are now, I know ETFs are, but you know, I'm not too worried about that. You know, so we'll have a look. So BTC, when ETFs came out on BTC, yeah, BTC shot itself. It absolutely shot itself. Because, you know, what, it was one of them. Buy the news, sell the whatever it is. And BTC shot itself. So you need to remember that. You know, I understand, yeah, ETFs are coming and all this. But like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, yeah, Donald Trump, yeah, is using this crypto platform to get his country out of debt. Yeah, they're in a lot of debt and they're using this platform to get his country out of debt. So once his country's out of debt, what do you think's going to happen to this? It's going to move down. So you need to be really careful with what we're doing in these markets at the minute. So if you're looking at BTC at the minute, where we are, you know, this is an overextension. And just looking at, right, I want you all to look at the volume in BTC here. Look at the volume. Look at that volume there, where we had that first run. There's no volume. Look at the volume. So it's done that move on no volume. You need to start looking at this. You need to start looking at the volumes. Because look at the volumes. This coin has been manipulated to highs. It really has. So if we've got ETF, Bitcoin ETFs, and here on this first rally here, we had 0 ETFs. Yeah, this crypto was made, yeah, to say fuck you to the banks, fuck you banks, fuck you government. This is ours. You're not having it. And we gave it back to them. We've given it to them, yeah. And now look at Bitcoin. Retail aren't bothered. Big players are involved. No volume, no retail. And you need to start thinking like that, in that sort of way. You really need to start thinking in that sort of way. Because it's just, they are manipulating the fuck out of Bitcoin. They really are manipulating the shit out of it. So I'd just be really careful with what we're doing in these markets. So I'm going to end it on that. And like I say, I've recorded this. I hope everybody's enjoyed today. Don't forget, we've got Thursday Night Live. Okay, we're going to have Thursday Night Live, me, Fido, Jonathan. Make sure you join us. And yeah, that's going to be it from me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the Sunday, guys. And I will catch you in a bit. Cheers for being here. Thank you. Take care, guys.